Hey, yo. What's up,
Yeah, that was
boys?
a very cool intro. I like that.
Thanks, brother.
Thanks,
Uh,
man. What's
it's a little
happening?
showcase of some of the different products that we have at Phase. So I thought that'd be quite cool for a little intro.
Yeah, an aero pool looks super interesting. I'm deep into that.
Thanks,
Yeah,
brother. Thank
got to
you.
check it out, brother. All right, well, everyone, welcome back to another episode of Phase Live. Today's going to be an absolute banger. We've got Fresh joining us from Shipyard, South Africa. I'm not sure if I'm allowed to share your real name.
Yeah, you can. Go ahead, bro.
It's Josh. And we've got Josh joining us from Shipyard SA. We're going to be talking a little bit about what Shipyard is, the recent Shipyard event we had here in South Africa, and how it ties into it's the Coliseum Hackathon, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's pretty much what we're going to be doing today. What's up, man? How you doing? And maybe give us a little bit of a quick intro, who you are, where you're from, your time in Web3.
For sure, bro. Yeah, I started in Web3, was it 5 years ago now? Started in Ethereum, really didn't enjoy paying for gas. I think we spoke about this before, Chris. And that kind of pushed me on into the Solana ecosystem. And from there, that was like start of 21, and things were obviously rampant at that point. The Solana ecosystem was popping off. I think that was the first real adoption of NFTs. So it was a great time to be on Solana. And since then, I've been working over 3 or 4 different startups, all each in their own different utility sphere, each a different track. And I've been learning a whole lot about marketing over that time, and a bit about sort of raising funds and VC capital. So that's sort of my experience at the moment. I think I'm diehard Solana at this point. I consider myself an OG, and I consider it to be one of those things you can't leave at this point. So yeah, that's currently where I'm at. I was fortunate enough to come across some very cool people who wanted to start up sort of a super team South Africa and to have a Solana community here in South Africa. And yeah, I was fortunate enough to get in a room with some cool people and form sort of the Solana community that we have, and try and get people to be more on board with Solana in South Africa, because as you know, we have so many users and so many devs here that do participate on Solana's ecosystem. So rounding them all up and getting them together was a really cool experience. And as you know, Chris, from the event that we threw, just being able to go face to face with people you've known for years and never actually have met them is definitely a rewarding experience. And getting to know all the different people and the talent out there it's been awesome.
Fantastic, man. Yeah, I must say the event here in Cape Town was beautiful, like really well organized. You and Ellie put together a great show. And it was so cool finally, like meeting people, myself and Digi have been bantering online for like probably 2 years now. And being able to like meet them in person and just like shoot the shit and whatever was very, very cool. So I almost feel like in some ways it wasn't even necessarily bringing together the Solana community. I almost feel like it was bringing together a specific part of the crypto community. Like, I don't know, like it feels like there was just a bunch of really amazing, like pro crypto people there. And it was cool to see, man.
Yeah, I think you nailed it on the head there. With kind of what Coliseum's motive is like, it's not, it's more of a startup competition than an accelerator. So that's kind of where you're at, and like meeting all these different people is a lot of them are on Solana, but a lot of them are also just into the entrepreneurial space and the startup space. And wherever that may lead in crypto, I know a few people in the Solana ecosystem that have many other ties to other chains, and the Web3 ecosystem overall is massive in South Africa, and just trying to curate sort of a Solana-based one out of that it's been sort of objective.
That kind of leads into one of my questions, which is like, what are some of the challenges you face building a community in South Africa? You kind of went into that a little bit. And for anyone watching the stream, if you didn't realize already, all 3 of us are South Africans. I don't live in South Africa anymore, though. I'm in sunny Texas. But it's honestly been a blessing to see, Josh and the gang and, people like Chris and everyone kind of come together back in your kind of, your home country. There in the audience. What Chris is playing right now is a very it's an anthem in South Africa, but yeah, honestly, it's really been a blessing and like a pleasure to see you guys kind of form and grow something. Because 2022, when I kind of started in the space, it was like there wasn't really anything going on in South Africa. There was like maybe some Bitcoin stuff, but I mean that was happening everywhere, right? And
Yeah.
as I was making a move to the States, like that obviously made the most sense to try and build a career here. But it's been awesome to see now like SA really start to formulate and get this like kind of group of people come together. So how is that, like who would you say are like the kind of core people that you've seen help to kind of like form this, and like where do you see it going over the next few years, right? Like as you mentioned, there's lots of like devs and talent there, which I fully agree with, there really is. So how do you see that kind of like melding together and becoming like a larger entity as time goes on?
Yeah, for sure. I think you kind of went on with the challenges that we had. And I think one of the things that we didn't have a big challenge with was formulating that core community, because so many people had known for such a long time that, we wanted to have a super team in South Africa, and we wanted to have Solana in South Africa. But the only way that was going to happen is if everyone pitches in. And I think everyone sort of collectively realized that this was sort of the opportunity to go really hard with it. And so many role players kind of stepped in, the first 10, 15 people, Angeliki in the crowd there.
What's up, Angeliki?
Angeliki, Digi, Alejandro, and Ethan. From the get-go, those were the people who were like, I'm ready to commit. Let's do this. Let's start. And we were given, 5-6 weeks. That's not a long time. And I think the work that we did from the start till now has been, we haven't even reflected on it yet, but being able to curate that community was special. And I think that as far as the challenge goes, that was one of the easier things, because just maybe about it, like how South Africans are so connected, and our communication with each other is so good. So yeah, like right now we have 80 people in the Telegram, and I think that we want to take that within a year. I think we have such high aspirations for what we can do in the Web3 space. And I think, as you mentioned it, there's a lot of Web3 incubation places now in South Africa and sort of workspaces. So that adoption is happening very quickly. I think the workspaces is like 10 different ones in Cape Town, and each one is like associated to different chains. So seeing that Web3 evolve in Cape Town has been cool. And now knowing that we have sort of a core community of Solana based people, I think the strength that we have with the people that want to be involved has really pushed us to the next phase.
Love to see it, dude.
You boys have definitely been
as a
cooking,
challenge. Sorry, Chris. As a challenge, though, one of the things that I think was a huge, not gray area, but an area which was sort of untapped was because of the exam season with the students. The comms with universities was next to nothing because of such a busy time with exams. So I think in the future, with the opportunity that we could be afforded, the university aspect is a massive, massive pool. And I think, Seb, just from your brother and sort of the talent of developers out there, it's such an untapped market. And to be able to go into the universities and be able to connect these students together is going to be good, because it's one thing going, I'm into fintech and I want to be a developer. And the natural progression from that as a South African is to go work for Investec or to go to one of these big firms and sort of eat gravel for a few years, not get paid much, and then work your way up. Whereas now, getting Solana to these universities and showing people the opportunities that you can have from the get-go, and not have to work 5 years to get to a higher position, but rather, create something yourself in your own startup. I think that's a whole different initiative and something that could appeal to a lot of students. So yeah, the challenge, not being able to get out to those students was a big sort of loss for us. It was just the timing and it wasn't great, but I think for the future, that is something we're most excited about.
I'll quickly add just on top of that, just because it's kind of it links to exactly what Fresh said about my younger brother. He's like 22, he's in uni. Fresh actually used to be his water polo coach back in the day, which is crazy.
No way.
My first year of university, dude.
Yeah. So it's so crazy how small the community really is. But Like, it's so true, because there's so many people back in South Africa that tend to just leave the country, right? Because there's other opportunities overseas. But it's like the cool thing with crypto, right? And as you say, getting to like at the university level, is there's a huge entrepreneurial, is massive entrepreneurial energy in South Africa. There's a lot of people that go into kind of that become entrepreneurs. And with crypto and like Web3, right, it allows them to even do that at an even larger scale. So yeah, I think that's also the one thing as well, right? Like, is keeping a lot of that talent in the country as well across the board, showing them that they can actually build, globally, locally. I think is like really the cool thing about crypto and blockchain.
Definitely. And I think, just speaking about this, a great example of that is Owen. And sort of how Owen's got on, and that the homie, and that is all purely out of his own volition. Like, he went out and did that himself. He wanted to learn. He was doing computer science, and then he dove into Solana head first. And now he's being afforded great opportunities. So, just for any young dev coming through, just to show them that light at the end of the tunnel, be like, this is a different way to look at your future, and a possibility that you can push into.
100%.
For sure. Right, I've got another thing I wanted to kind of briefly chat about. Is obviously, like, there was a lot of time and effort that went into the actual event itself, like a lot of planning and stuff. And it seemed like over the kind of entire week, everything was structured in like quite a specific way in order to like really facilitate progression with anyone who wanted to like submit and stuff. So can you kind of walk us through what each day was, and the whole kind of process from start to finish, like how you incubated all of these different projects and people, and help them get from like point A to point B?
Definitely. It's an interesting. It seems quite well planned out, and I admit, like, it definitely went better than we expected it to. One thing that we had was we definitely wanted to have the structure set out. So we did that. We made sure everything was in place. We had the venues, we had the people who were going to attend, and we knew sort of what we were going to be speaking about, and we had pre-planned everything. But the way that it actually came to fruition was a lot better than we thought, because the first day we came across with a meet and greet, and we got people in a room, and we sort of had a basic idea of what we wanted the experience to be, and what we want to come from that. And it exceeded that so much. And I think that's mainly because we just got people in a room, we got to speaking with each other, we got to understanding each other, and it just kicked off from there. And from that first meet and greet all the way till the end of the week, it was non-stop. It was non-stop chatter, it was non-stop conversation, and connecting with each other. So that first day, that meet and greet really kicked it off nicely for us. And going to the second day was a lot more based around the actual hackathon, and how you're going to sort of, or the submission materials that you're going to have, and how you're going to convey your product and portray it to the public. So the second day was more about the ideathon, and sort of refining people's ideas that they had for their submissions. And that was going through getting people in a room, getting through their ideas, having a sort of an active conversation with other founders in the room. And what's so great about that is that some founders are a lot earlier on in their startups than some others, and some others have some great experience alongside us being there. The experience mixed with people who are inexperienced, it was extremely valuable in that sphere. So the ideathon was really successful that way. We had some more time on our hands, and this is what I love about this team, is that we just adapt with whatever time we have on our hands. So the ideathon ended, and we said, we've got cameras, we've got mics, let's go to the Seaport Promenade and start chatting to people about crypto. And even in the car on the way to the Seaport Promenade, we were like, okay, how do we want to frame this? How do we want to speak to people? How do we want to approach people? What conversations do we want to be having? And you saw that from sort of our after movie video, with Digi saying clock that, and all of these things kind of just fell into as we went forward with it. So regardless of any pre-planned stuff that we had, it was always sort of adapting to the next big thing. So yeah, we got some great content from after the ideathon, and then we moved on to more serious things, the Codigo workshop. Sort of, it's one thing having someone who's super technical and a technical founder, which is something that a lot of startups lack, is a really good technical founder. So being able to have Code Ego, which is in short, you're putting in a prompt for what you want them to build, and then Code Ego pushes out all the code. And we had a few people in there who were really developers, who were just startup founders. So to be able to access that type of tooling was super helpful. It really set those more inexperienced founders on a mission of, here's your code, now go out and build it and get people to help you, and we'll help you, and let's just make sure it's submittable. So that was sort of where we were into that Wednesday, getting a lot more serious about sort of here the resources and the materials that we have. Let's try and make your product first, make sure it's viable, make sure the idea is good, and then let's package it and make sure that it's in its best shape for the Coliseum submissions. That was on the Wednesday, and then the Thursday, as you know, Chris, we had the event.
It was a banger.
Yeah, it was great. It was so, I think everybody enjoyed it. I think we got rave reviews.
Yeah, it was so sick.
Yeah, and again, I think that's just the South African community, isn't it? I think that we don't have crazy expectations. We all just want to get in a room, have a meal, have a drink, and sort of connect and network. And that was exactly that. It's one thing having all the stuff pre-planned and set out, and it's another thing actually being and being in front of these people. So I think that South Africanacity made it a lot easier for us to kind of get in a room and get people down to an event and have some fun. I can't speak for other nations, but I'm extremely proud of our community that we have. But yeah, the event, Ellie got he got two venues, I suppose. And one was the sort of meet and greet drinks venue, and then we went to the dinner venue. And I think Duchess blew people away. You know, we were having
got a little bit out of hand there, eh?
Yeah, we're having some food, and then the next thing the tables are gone and everyone's dancing, and you're like, "Okay, we're doing this now." Yeah, it went
a common occurrence in South Africa, honestly.
I must say, I'm actually quite disappointed. I see Maru in the comments, and I'm quite disappointed that he didn't show up to this event. Actually,
I agree.
We're gonna have words after this, Maru.
Ooh. I actually wanted to taste something. I want to see if this works. Just to give because when Josh was bringing up the promenade, let me see if I can show you this. Just to give you an idea of the promenade. And can you guys see this? Here, let me bring it up to stage. So this is the promenade over along here, which is in Sea Point, which is absolutely stunning. Just for anyone in the audience who hasn't been to South Africa, or
sure, stunning.
Stunning, hey? This is the Sea Point Promenade.
Absolutely stunning.
Absolutely stunning. And then this is like
Makes
the
you
city
proud.
bowl. This is like the city bowl over. Let me see if I can share this tab instead. Just to kind of paint a picture, right? Like this is like the city bowl over here. Beautiful Table Mountain. So I think Duchess is like it's in Sea Point, isn't it? Is it over here? Or,
Yes.
Yeah, like over here.
It's in Sea Point.
So just to give people an idea of what Cape Town looks like, absolutely awesome place. So yeah, if you wanna join Shipyard South Africa, or go, I don't know, build some stuff with them, it's not a bad place to go to for holiday either. Just a heads up.
Not bad at all.
Perma bullish.
Yeah, and then where we're picking up from, sort of the whole experience and the events. Ellie's a weapon. I think everyone knows this by now. Ellie's really on top of his game. We'll be planning something and sort of getting resources for different things, making calls, and the next thing he'll show up and be like, "No, guys, don't worry, I've got it sorted. Don't ask me how I did it. It's done." So when it came to the venues and the planning for that, Ellie killed it. But yes, as you speak about the Sea Point Promenade, really interesting. Some of the people that we approached and spoke to, for like startup ideas, we sort of wanted to frame it so that we're not going to them and saying, "Oh, do you own crypto?" Because that's always a very invasive, like hectic question. A lot of people sort of have a negative connotation when they hear crypto. So how we framed it was, if you had a startup, what would you build? So we framed it in the Coliseum angle, and the main thing that people spoke about, and we had, I think, 3 or 4 people speak about this independently from each other, was homelessness, and how they wanted to combat homelessness in South Africa. So that's another another thing that people are very serious about, which is ironic because obviously we're in Sea Point at this time. So these are all very, very well-off people, very rich people. So at least people see that there are issues that we need to address, and I think that the blockchain is something, and Solana specifically, that can solve these issues. Whatever angle we may take with it, I think Solana is the place to do it. One interesting project that we had, which submitted, was called Open Tender, South Africa, and that was basically putting all the tenders, government tenders, because you bid for them as a government tender, or you get handed them by someone that or nepotism, etc., etc. So they put all the tenders on the blockchain, on Solana, so that any tenders that are awarded or cancelled or anything that happens with those tenders is all transparent for the
visible.
public.
Visibility.
Yeah. I think that's obviously one step forward in how we would fix these sort of corruption issues in the country, is just sort of having transactions more public for people to see.
100%. Yeah, I love that idea. That was definitely, obviously I did a lot of the interviews at Shipyard during the event, and that was quite a common theme with everyone that I interviewed was resolving, firstly the whole homelessness thing that you mentioned, as well as the tenders. Those were like two very big kind of topics that popped up and stuff, like resolving corruption and resolving homelessness, which are, those are definitely two of the biggest problems we face in South Africa. Steb, would you like to take a quick Netrunner intermission?
Yeah, actually, I think, Josh, I don't know if you're on the platform yet, but I'll do a quick. I'm just gonna play a quick little video. Here, let me jump up over here. Just to talk a little bit about Netrunner, right? So Netrunner is our Solana-focused tax tool. We're currently in private beta. If you want to try the app, you can. It's we have a huge discount going on at the moment. It's 50% off of our 1 SOL opening price. So it's 0.5 SOL, and it's Solana prices right now. It's a pretty good deal. You get 100,000 transactions on your plan. You get the rest of 2025 and the whole of 2026 subscription. And I'll just play this little clip just to give you a better idea if you don't know the app. You can DM us if you want to get more details. You can go to our Netrunner tax Twitter page as well. And we can also help you out. And there is information on our page there on how to sign up and then use the discount code. But here's a little video. So enjoy this.
Ooh.
So hyped.
That ending though, it's just like
Yeah, just a little bit. Shout out to our video editor or video designer Mogul. Absolutely
what a
that
G.
video. But yeah,
funny.
again, if you want to learn more, please hit us up at FaZe Labs or go to the Netrunner page and we'll sort you out with the sub. But yeah, appreciate it. All right, back to the show.
Jumping back.
Dude,
in.
I need the
All
number
right,
of the editor. I need to steal him.
No, he's a beast, dude.
Yeah, he's really good. Okay, I think next question, Seb. I think you've got one lined up here next, I believe.
Yeah, I think we've kind of spoken a little bit about like South Africa's. I guess maybe we could dive a little bit deeper into like what role does Africa play in Solana's global story. I know. I guess to preface, like South Africa is it's a tiny place in the bottom of Africa. It really isn't that big. But I think there's so much talent there. Oh, hello, Digi, I see you in the crowd. They also shout out to Crypto Quack as well.
Digi!
But it's like, it's a relatively small place, but I think there's so much talent in South Africa across the board, right? It's actually kind of crazy how many people that are from South Africa are doing big things in crypto overseas, which is awesome. So I think there's definitely room for it to be done in South Africa. But Fresh, how do you think we can globally affect the crypto scene? I think maybe specifically in Africa. I think I've always thought that South Africa is a really good entry point, and Nigeria, Super Team Nigeria, doing amazing work, but to spread to the rest of Africa. So, do you have any ideas around that or any thoughts?
I think just in terms of spreading Web3 and Solana specifically over Africa, we've got quite a good relationship with Super Team Nigeria. And I think being able to sort of join forces there, South Africa, Nigeria, maybe whatever collaboration partnership we'll have, but being able to sort of host events, not just in South Africa, but across the wider regions in Africa, I think is going to be important. We know South Africa is the #1 technological African country by statistics, but the top 5 is actually Kenya, Egypt, Nigeria, and I forgot the last one. But besides the point, these African countries are technological hubs. They are brimming with talent, and especially in the fintech arena. And one thing that is coming short is jobs and access to jobs too. So being able as a sort of a Shipyard entity, Super Team entity, in collaboration with the other African partner that we have, I think being able to bring these opportunities to people and show them what opportunities are out there is going to be the most important thing. And that doesn't just mean, build an app and be a developer. It means be a creative. It means be someone who's a content writer, get hired for roles on Solana. So it goes a lot further than, simply, preparing for the hackathon, preparing for the Coliseum. And I'm glad you brought this up, Seb, because it goes a lot deeper than that. It goes a lot further, and having to, get Africa up to speed with the rest of the world in terms of blockchain, I think is the #1 goal. So I think to answer your question, pushing these opportunities to people first is the name of the game, because we know access to jobs is short. And from that, we hope that the community grows and grows by seeing these opportunities and seeing that from whatever they build or whatever sort of what they provide to the ecosystem, getting jobs back from it, and getting remuneration back from it.
It's a big word.
Yeah.
It's a big word. Is the #1 goal. So it's one thing having the brand and having Solana out there, but it's another thing fixing sort of systemic issues within countries.
Yeah, self-sovereignty is just such a big thing that's needed. Like, I've always thought, if you imagine you could get a seeker in the hand of every kid in the township, right? Like, even just being able to get that technology into the hands of, because I mean, it's like, people want to learn, they want to build, they want to do things. And I think it's just like that piece of technology can give them access to this world. Not only just like the ability to learn, the internet is just literally like, you can learn anything on the internet. There's Harvard business courses on the internet. It's crazy. You can literally, if you really put the time and effort in, like, you don't even need to go to college nowadays. If you really put in the effort and you find a high growth industry and you're lucky enough to kind of get in or whatever. But crypto is that, right? It's still at this moment a place that you can get in with very little prior
experience,
knowledge or experience in additional qualifications in like a fintech, kind of job, whatever. If you have the time and the energy and the want and the need to do something bigger with your life and build something, you will find the people that you can do it with, and you'll learn from them as well along the way. Like, I knew shit about half this stuff when in 2022, but it's like, you just learn through association, and there's so many incredibly talented and smart people in this space that you can actually get one-on-one access with, that in the traditional world, right, or business world, it's so much harder. It's so much harder to get in contact with these people. So yeah, I think it's amazing what you guys are doing, and I can't wait to see the growth and the benefit it brings to the country. And even here from old USA, I'll do whatever I can to help and support you guys and bring more I don't know, benefit or energy or I don't know, whatever it is, funding to South Africa, to you guys, and to the initiatives there to help, bolster our country. Anyway, yeah.
Yeah, thanks, Evan. I think that's exactly sort of the South African nature, is like the small community we've built up in this time, being able to go to literally anyone for connections, resources, network, whatever it may be. People are always so active and so energetic to do it. So that just makes our lives easier in the South African part. So you also spoke about, like, if you gave a secret to everyone in the township, and it was actually a cool idea from one of our submissions, was, you could have, for instance, in a township, say there's sort of a center where you can go and rent a laptop. If there's 30 laptops in that little center, you can actually rent out that compute for those laptops while they're not being used in the evening. And this is a guy named Daniel, who's up in Johannesburg, is building this. And it's sort of being able to go to the institutions is going to be sort of the harder thing for him, and universities, and be able to say, like, once these computers are offline, you can rent out the compute to other servers around the world and actually make revenue from it. So that's another angle with sort of the townships.
Yeah,
yeah, you have these learning centers. It is purely deepened, and how you have these learning centers.
Dude.
Yeah, that's very sick.
So this is just one angle about like how you can tackle that. It doesn't have to be something that is high level and only the rich people can be involved. It doesn't have to work that way. Like the technology can cross boundaries and barriers like nothing else. And in South Africa, I think we know that we have sort of these cultural divides, even if they're imaginary or not there. And this merges that gap. Ideas merge that gap 100% because it can apply to everyone and not just one group.
Chris is...
I'm sorry. You guys don't bore me. I'm just super tired.
Chris talking about a really amazing Deepen project. Just like, I've done it. No, I'm joking. I know you're tired, Chris. I know you're tired. No, but that's amazing.
Let's just rip Pokemon packs.
It is late. It is obviously like later in South Africa, but no, that's amazing. I think, and as what you bring up there, like it is our responsibility as people that are in a better position than most of the people in our country, to do something about it and to try and help, and to try and in better the world that we came from and the country that we love, because it's just the youth we have to as young people, right? Like everyone just can't leave, It's like, cool, how can we improve things? Because it's like we all know from living there that there's just so much talent, there's so much potential, there's so much that can be done. It's just, yeah, I think once that whatever that network effect happens or these kinds of things start to like expand, obviously everything's slower back home, right? Like we always get technology later than everyone else and but like now that gap is getting smaller and smaller because technology is just being able to technology can be shared so much more quickly now. So
exactly,
yeah. Anyway,
100%. Right. Okay. Next question for you, Josh. Which local projects or founders from Shipyard are you most excited about? I mean, I know we've touched on a few, but which ones for you personally are the ones that you think are really like kind of standing out and are going to potentially win or make a difference?
Okay, so before I start talking about this, we have our local bounty.
What's the alpha?
So we have our local bounty. We will be announcing winners for that on the 13th at the event. But what I'm about to speak about has absolutely no bearing on who's going to win and who's going to get prizes, yada yada. This is from my own like subjective view of what I found really interesting. One of the projects that I thought was super cool was Soul Ignition, and it basically allows you to lend and borrow Soul to deploy your programs on Solana as a developer. So for people that can't afford to deploy their programs, because some programs are quite costly to deploy, they can go through that process. I thought that was really, really cool because it's a gap in the market. It hasn't been done, and it is actually very necessary. Yeah, so like developers who afford the fees, that's going to become a more prevalent thing, especially in our country. So that was one idea. It was really cool, and he built it out perfectly, top to bottom. Another project I really, really like is Veritas. That is really interesting, and I don't want to butcher the explanation for it, but it is essentially it's truth markets. So we have prediction markets. This is truth markets. And I don't know if you know about the subject of Futaki. Seb, you may be familiar with it.
When did I hear about that?
And he's basically taken, MetaDAO. And he's basically taken an idea from 2019 from Vitalik Buterin, and he's brought that idea and made it happen on Solana. And it's called inversely coupled bonding curves.
What?
We need simpler names for this stuff, bro.
Yeah, that's why I don't want to butcher all of this, dude, because his idea is so complex.
Just wait. Say that one more time for me.
Inversely coupled bonding curves.
Oh my God. You know what? Normies are going to come into crypto, they're going to come into Web3, and they're going to be like, what is this weird, like, it sounds like some sort of sexual fantasy.
Okay, so let me give the normie explanation. Actually, let me simplify
ICBC.
it.
There's the ICBC. That's what we'll call
There we
it.
go.
Yeah, that's actually decent. It's basically that's just the mechanics behind it and sort of how things balance. But it's basically a media platform mainly for creators who can go on, post a piece of media and be like, is there truth in this media or is there not? And users will then sort of predict, or well, not predict, but sort of vote on it and what is truthful and what's not truthful.
Wow.
And those bonding curves will kind of balance out the yes and no's, and whatever is the result or the majority, those people will get paid out the tokens, and the creator will then be paid out in another process. So I don't know.
So there's incentive. No, that makes sense. So it's almost like there's incentive in predicting the truth. Right?
Exactly. And like media, as we know, is super biased and subjective nowadays, and you don't even know where to get your media from. So for that, it's like the user is actually verifying the validity of the media.
Wow, that's insane. I mean, my only kind of like pushback to that concept would be like that it could potentially get botted. There would need to be quite like strong measures in place to make sure that it doesn't get.
So how they've counteracted the botting is everybody has a profile, and if you have your outcomes are more under truth, then you get more positive ranking.
Okay. So it's like, so your profile is like verifiable and like kind of like.
Exactly.
Like you get, okay. I like that. Wow.
And that's
a very cool concept.
Yeah, and sort of his intuitive display that he has is really interesting. So obviously you have TikTok and Instagram, everything's a scroll, whereas his is kind of a scroll, but as you're scrolling, it's like you've got the video, and then next to you, you've got the validity and the truth and the false sort of dashboard. And the way that it flows, it sort of integrates each side panel as it flows. So yeah, you guys will see it eventually. He'll release it in full, but yeah, I can't do it any justice through explanation. I think that it's one of my personal favorites, even though I can't really have favorites, but I think the idea is just so niche and something that hasn't been done. And the other part of it is that he's taken an idea which wanted to be executed on Ethereum that couldn't, which could only be executed on Solana, and he did it on Solana.
Opus.
Yeah, exactly. So that's another project I really liked. And then a big one which we feel, sort of might be very appealing to the African market. Seb, we spoke a bit more about this, is remittance in Africa is huge. The industry is multi-billions of dollars, and it's sort of sending money across Africa to a different country. You might be working in South Africa and you want to send money to family in Kenya. The fees on that are actually ridiculous, like beyond what you could imagine. You think sending money to Europe is a lot of money. Even just across the park in Africa is and these remittance companies sort of gatekeep those fees and the percentages so they don't go up or down very much. Whereas with Solana, where you see where Solana comes in here with speed and affordability, it allows them to be super cheap, super fast. And for people who can't really afford these fees, it goes a long way. So they're called Remedies, really cool founder. His name's Noble. Super cracked founder. He's done a few startups before, and this is just one of his ideas that he's put to fruition. And I think that's also one of the projects I feel might do well, because it's actually addressing something in the local market that's very important.
Yeah, no, definitely.
I just want to add on there. I definitely think this is like probably the number one most important kind of project or direction or narrative or whatever for Africa. Because, look, South Africa is a perfect example. You've got so many people working in South Africa who want to send money back to their families in Malawi or Zimbabwe or Botswana or wherever they are. And it's so expensive and it's so limited in how you can do this. And in fact, it's quite a cool story to tell is like my aha moment with Solana was actually when it was at $12. So I just I had exposure into the Solana ecosystem and I was like familiarizing myself with it and stuff. And I did some photography work for a company in Ghana. And they basically had like a tour group that came here to South Africa. And they wanted to pay me using some like money transfer thing called Wise, and I'd never heard of it. And I was like, guys, I don't know, this sounds scammy. Like I said to them, listen, can you pay me in crypto? And they were like, yeah, cool, we can pay you in crypto. What crypto do you want? Bitcoin, Solana, Ethereum? I knew Solana was obviously like a pretty good one and whatever. So I was like, can you just pay me in Solana? So like, yeah, sure. Send them my Solana wallet address. We're literally chatting on WhatsApp. They're like, cool, there, payment sent. Check my wallet, and it's there. And I was like, what the hell? That was just like,
and that's
it went all the way.
Right?
Exactly.
Yeah,
It cost next to nothing, instant. Like I was like blown away. And that moment for me when I was like, Solana is going to win. Like I remember like a Bitcoin transaction taking like 30 minutes to come through when I used to, send between wallets and stuff. And the fact that you can do a transaction so quickly and so affordably, that is what makes Solana so great, in my opinion.
It was always payments, wasn't it? Right? It was, I guess,
it was.
because the same thing, even when I started in 2022, like I remember I was working in the States, but I was trying to get I was between South Africa and America, but I was like kind of like making my move across. And I was like, how do I get my money from the US that I'm making there in crypto? So using Valor in South Africa, turn it to Rand, withdraw it. And I was just like, this is insane. Like I'm able to work in another country, earn in dollars, and then when I come home, I can convert it into my Rand, and with minimal fees, right? Comparatively to having to send it over like FNB or something like that. It's just so obvious. And I think those fees that you bring up, Fresh, as well, is it's like, especially for those families sending money to each other, even like 50 Rand or 100 Rand in fees is like, that's like a loaf of bread and some
multiple meals, bro.
Multiple meals.
Yeah,
it's a lot.
It's crushing people, man.
Yeah, it's a lot of money that they're losing out, and their families are losing out, and it just it's like stables really are gonna just change the game in Africa for sure. Yeah,
big time.
I agree. And there was that stablecoin summit in Nigeria recently. We didn't get to go, but it's just another avenue of sort of getting not third world countries, but just underdeveloped countries access to stable coins is so important. And like with the remittance sort of issue and the fees issues, like a lot of the poorer people in our country, at the end of the month, you go to the bank, you're not getting into the bank. Like the bank, there's 200 people line, and that's because people literally go and draw the money out because it's cheaper for them to draw the money out, put the money in the envelope, and send it across the country than to do remittance.
And then that's also a danger because you could also have your envelope stolen.
Exactly.
So it's like, I mean, if we could get that on chain, and we could also get the Home Affairs on chain as well, that would be amazing.
Good luck with that.
Yeah, I'll be like,
good luck with that.
It's funny in the States, like I go to the DMV, right, and people are like, because people always in the States always talk about like, the DMV. It's like I wait. I'm like there for 30 minutes, 40 minutes. I'm like, bro, come to South Africa. I go to the DMV equivalent in Stellenbosch, right? It takes me. I have to be there at 7 a.m. and stand there for 6 hours so I can just go get my new driver's license. It's like, or I have to drive like an hour away, an hour and a half away to some like tiny town to go do it. But in any like,
literally,
it's just it's crazy, So anyway,
and with digital IDs, like you could put that all on chain. Like digital IDs could be on chain. People wouldn't have to go and get them printed and
verifiable and all that thing.
Yeah, exactly. This is the way. We are so early, damn it.
Like people with access to a phone, dude. Like if you have a smartphone, they should be cool. If you don't have a smartphone, you can go get a physical card, and that issue has to be addressed. But if you have a smartphone, which is a majority of people, then you should be able to have a digital version.
Exactly.
Well, also, even if you have a smartphone in South Africa, I don't know if it's still the same, but Vodafone or Vodacom or whatever, like one of our main cell phone carriers, has literally the most expensive data packages of anyway. Like here in the States, I pay for a package, right? I get like unlimited data bandwidth or whatever. South Africa, you literally have to like, I don't know if it's, maybe it's changed now, but you had to constantly buy packages of data. And it was like so expensive for like 5 gigabytes and 10 gigabytes or whatever. You know, it's like ridiculous.
It's definitely, I'd say it's improved. Like home Wi-Fi now, you can get like a pretty good fiber setup for like 500 grand a month. But for cellular is insane, bro. Like you're paying like 200 rand for like 10 gigs or something stupid. Like it's crazy.
It's still bad. What are you guys rocking? MTN, Cell C, Vodacom. Is Cell C still around?
Yeah, but it's
no, bro.
No.
Yeah, I don't know.
Cell C.
But
this is now the cell phone podcast. We're gonna
yeah, we digress. Let's get back on track here because we're starting to get completely off. I figured there's a lot of South Africans in the audience who can relate. So
yeah.
All right. And now I've lost my questions. And now I found them again. Okay. So what's the long-term vision for Shipyard? Where do you guys see it in 2 to 3 years? And, you know, obviously to build it, but I mean, like, what's like your kind of main goals for the next couple of years with Shipyard?
I think the main goals is sort of have everything pre-planned, but also have things that are localized and routine within the country. So being able to have a university workshop at every university in the country, virtually every region. I'm talking like we're even going into Kimberley and Bloemfontein, and so everywhere, so that the market is tapped to its full potential. That is my sort of arena of what I want to get right, is being able to go, cool, in March we are going to these 3 universities. This is what we're going to be doing. This is how we're going to be tackling sort of bringing in more users and bringing in more people for incubation. I think that's sort of where the future is going with us. I think that, you know, we had a very small 6-week sprint to do things, and we executed well, and we planned really well for it. But having a longer time frame to work with, it's gonna yield very, very positive effects for us. I mean, we had almost 20 submissions from South Africa for the Coliseum, so big ups to South Africans for that. The people in the crowd, you know, we did really, really well. That's a group effort. That's not just Shipyard, they say. And I think being able to look at that, and last year we had 1 submission. So from 1 up to 20, it's really good progress. And I think that the future vision for us is just to up those numbers every single quarter, every single year, being able to push our limits on that and be the #1 sort of super team and Solana community. That is our goal, because we've seen how big of an impact we had in these 6 weeks. So we want to be up there with the top 3. We want to be up there, and other people say, you know, that is the super team that we go to, and that's a super team that we really like to see, and also encompassing sort of the Solana values that come along with it. So I think the future plans for us are, you know, have everything planned out and look forward to really hitting out the systemic things that we need to do, but also the excitement is really there to have a longer time frame to be able to execute multiple things, and not just prepare for the hackathon. So yeah, I think that's where the future is with us. That's sort of how we see it, and it's really exciting. So yeah, just 10x everything, dude. Make everything inflated. You know, hit those APIs and just keep pushing them.
So I have one last question for you on my side, but that sounds awesome, and I think that you guys will achieve that goal. Also, just a shout out to Super Team Nigeria and Zube, absolute legend. They've been doing incredible work. So they've actually set a really nice standard for what Super Team South Africa needs to hit. They honestly are one of the
top super framework, dude,
like,
for sure.
They've done an incredible job. So my last question to you is, what's one thing the global Solana community can learn from the South African approach?
Yeah, that's a great question, Seb. A lot of the global Solana community does not face the issues that we face here, plain and simply. And that goes from multiple different spheres. I mean, you know, sources of income, how you're getting paid, how you're spending your money, the infrastructure within the country, the systemic failures that we face every day. Everything is so vastly different from the global economy. And you know, a global breakpoint event, and the different people that you interact with. I think that South Africa and Nigeria too, and the African continent as a whole, we just face completely different issues to the rest of the world. And with that comes sort of how you're going to plan to fix those and the solutions that you're going to put in place for that. So I think that's where we are in terms of our role compared to the global stage, is that we need to fix fix issues that are very different compared to the rest of the world, and show the world how we fix these issues so that in other countries that face the same issues, they can do the same.
Love that, dude. Amazing answer.
Yeah, good answer. All right, I'm going to ask one more question before we start looking at wrapping up for the day. So, and this is kind of like a very chilled question compared to Seb's one. If Shipyard were a type of, or Shipyard South Africa were a type of coffee, what would it be and why?
When you say type of coffee, you're talking like what type of drink is being made?
Anything you like, bro. It can be
like a matcha, if you want to get that.
No. It could be like a.
Well, the kind of matches.
It could be like a cinnamon dolce latte with extra whipped cream and whatever on the top.
Black coffee, bro.
Oh yeah, let's go.
There we go, dude.
Good answer.
There we go.
Good answer. Oh man,
That's all.
That's
I
actually
that was great, man.
That's a banger.
Awesome. Well, Josh, very, very cool having you on today, man. Thanks so much for making the time. I know it wasn't perfect timing for you, so I appreciate you making it work today. Yeah, shout out to everyone in the audience. Crypto Quack, we see you. E-Man, another one of the Shipyard SA boys. Euphrates, Digi, Maru. Who else have we got? Yina.
Banger official as well.
Yeah, and Angeliki. Shout out to all of you legends for joining us today. Don't forget about Netrunner. Seb, I don't know if you want to give one little Netrunner plug before we wrap up.
Yeah, I guess I'll do like the rounds, just a little bit about Phase. If you want to learn more about Phase and all that we do, you can see in the top of the stream there, we have Netrunner, Aero, and Sentinel. I'll start from the right. Sentinel is our institutional grade validator infrastructure. We have SOC 2 Type 2 certification. We run validators for brands like Magic Eden, Portals, and so on and so forth. We're also fighting for stake decentralization on Solana. So we're trying to fight the good fight. We went to go talk to the SEC earlier this year. So yeah, really just pushing a bullish Solana narrative there, and however we can help push the chain forward. Aero is our Solana ecosystem stake pool. So we delegate to over 180 plus Solana validators, 1 million SOL that we delegate to them. And these are all validators that are, contributing to the growth of the network, building apps, tools, things like that, developers, whatnot. And then lastly, Aero is our Netrunner is our Solana tax tool, right? And our goal is to become the best Solana tax tool just in general. And I think we've been doing that pretty successfully. We are reaching 100 users at this point. We're in private beta. We're adding incredible features. We have super fast indexing, 100,000 transactions on your plan, auto labeling of all major Solana programs that we're just increasing every single day. And we're currently running a special for 50% off our 1 SOL opening plan. So 0.5 SOL for 2025 and 2026 tax years. So you'll get the rest of this year and the rest of next year sub 100,000 transactions, all that cool stuff. So if you're interested in that, you can either DM us at the Phase Labs account, or you can go to the Netrunner account and you can DM us there. There's information on our page to learn more. But yeah, thank you so much for all as I can see here, 221 people that came to watch us today and listen to us talk to Josh about Super Team or Shipyard SA. Thanks again as always.
Thanks for having me, guys. Yeah, I really enjoyed it. So it was good chatting with you, X.
Dude, thanks for coming, brother.
Thanks so much, boys. Take care. And hope everyone has a great week further. It's almost a weekend. It's only 2 more days. Have a good one, boys. Take care.
Cheers guys.
Cheers.
No.